Hello again, guys. This is Kevin Dillon alongside Kevin Duffy here at Gillette Stadium. We just saw day 2 of New England Patriots minicamp. A little bit more of a look into what the Patriots are doing here this offseason. It was another good day. The offense had probably a little bit of a better day, partly because it was a lot nicer weather. I guess, Kevin, immediately, what stood out to you?
Well, it's kind of the same thing as yesterday. I don't know. I'm just not one to draw, like, sweeping takeaways from this, but one thing that we've been monitoring a little bit is the running back snaps, how they've used the running backs. Today, Rex Burkhead, who they signed in free agency from Cincinnati, was with the first team when they ran like hurry-up offense, basically. Burkhead's been extensively involved, I think, and it's really been Burkhead, James White, and Dion Lewis working with Tom Brady and Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jacoby Brissett has been working with DJ Foster, Mike Gillislee, so on. I don't think it's an indication that Gillislee's not going to play with the first unit. I just think this is a passing camp, and you're trying to involve the running backs who are going to be catching a lot of passes. Burkhead, watching him today, catches it real naturally. Looks like a natural route runner. Really, even though he didn't do a lot of that in Cincinnati, it looks like it just comes pretty easy to him. I wouldn't be surprised if they use him lined up out wide sometimes, in the slot a little bit, throw it to him out of the backfield. I think he's going to be a player that the Patriots use in a variety of ways.
Yeah, he seemed like one of the biggest standouts to me as well, just mostly because of the way they use him. They use him all over the place. They use him as a receiver and just in check downs, and that's something you see the Patriots do a lot with Dion Lewis. You see him do some design passing plays with James White, but he can do a little bit of that, and that makes him really useful, especially given his talent between the tackles as well. And so I think he's going to be a guy that you see a lot more of this moving forward in training camp, as we're going to watch him, and he's going to look really good, especially when there's no one trying to tackle him, and we'll see what happens when there are more people trying to actually tackle him. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he really didn't get much action in Cincinnati. Jeremy Hill and Gio Bernard were their 2 running backs, and Burkhead was 3rd string, and he was plagued by some injuries, but even if he was healthy, it seemed that Hill and Bernard were the guys they wanted to go with. Bernard goes down with an ACL semi-late in the year. Jeremy Hill also gets banged up, misses some action. In week 16 and 17, Burkhead was the feature back, and you saw that he could run it between the tackles very effectively. They didn't really use him as a receiver that much, but the way he looks in Patriots minicamp, and we'll have to see more in training camp in the preseason, I really think the Patriots can move him around a little bit. James White as a receiver is effective, but a lot of that is on screen passes. Like, it's not like James White is really lining up in the slot and running different routes. They really hit him on a lot of screens, short passes like that. Today, Burkhead caught one where he ran probably like a 12-yard out toward the sideline and made a contested catch with, I think it was like Cyrus Jones was the corner. So that's a play you see normally from a wide receiver. Burkhead, who was a running back, made a nice play there. I think that's going to be part of how he's utilized there.
For sure. And then just kind of going along with some of the other receivers, I mean, it looked like it was a great day for the receivers, particularly Chris Hogan got a lot of action.
He did.
He was really effective today. Brandin Cooks got a lot of action. He had that one long, it was like a 60-yard touchdown reception in the air. Yep. And then he had one where he caught one over the middle, and there was someone pursuing him, and he just kind of blew by him. I think it might have been Butler, but I don't remember. But you see the speed, and you see how it can affect the Patriots, not just in the deep passing game, but in the underneath routes where someone's going to have to catch him.
Yeah, Brandin Cooks' speed is pretty obvious when you watch, and it's what I said yesterday, and I'll say it tomorrow on the 3rd day minicamp. The biggest thing you can take away from this, because they're not in pads and they're not really doing a lot of anything relevant to what they'll be doing in training camp and in actual games, the biggest thing you can take away is a player's individual athleticism. And Brandin Cooks just jumps off the field when you watch him. He's got great deep speed. He's got good short area quickness and agility, and so do a lot of the Patriots receivers. Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola fall into that category. The guy who I was struck by today was actually Andrew Hawkins, the free agent they signed from Cincinnati. He is extremely, extremely quick. He might even be quicker than Edelman and Dion Lewis and all those guys, which is saying something, because the Patriots have a lot of those smaller, compact players who just change direction really well in short areas. I don't know if Andrew Hawkins is going to make the team. It's not like he was super impressive in like 11-on-11 drills or anything like that, but just watching him athletically moves at a different pace than a lot of the receivers.
Yeah, I know you talked to Andrew Hawkins. I guess what did you have to say? What did he have to say to you?
Well, I just talked to him a little bit about why he signed with the Patriots in the first place, because he had said that he had 4 or 5 offers from other teams, and he picked New England. And that's interesting to me because the depth chart here is so stacked that there's really no guarantee he'd make the team. He didn't really, I mean, he said that he acknowledged that the Patriots wide receivers are as talented as any group he's been around. You know, the thing is, since he was a free agent in the middle of May, it's not like he was a guarantee to make a team elsewhere, I guess. So he felt that this was probably the best fit for him in terms of an offense and the scheme they run. It really lends itself to those smaller, quicker players. He's seen countless of them, guys like Edelman, Amendola, Wes Welker before, have success. So that's really what I talked to him about, his decision to sign here, and just he did say he had worked out a little bit with Edelman and Amendola in previous off seasons. He had known them a little bit, so he's comfortable with those guys and could ask them questions about coming to the Patriots. And you know, it was a pretty short, pretty not much to say interview.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, I know there's kind of been a lot of talk between, you see Hawkins, Amendola, and maybe Carr looking at that last spot. I mean, Carr looks like he looks like a rookie right now in training camp.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably trying to get to know things, so you can't really tell too much early. But I mean, it's interesting that Hawkins is standing out so much.
Yeah, he just stands out athletically. He could have a spot, like if one of the top 4 guys gets hurt, or top 5 if you include Amendola, one of those guys gets hurt in training camp, then Hawkins might have a spot. If they keep all 5, they might even keep Hawkins as the 6th receiver and just, you know, take away a guy at another spot. I mean, you can finagle the roster however you really want to. So they have a lot of talent there. They've got a lot of talent at running back, and there's going to be certainly some difficult cuts. The one thing I would say about Austin Carr, the accomplished rookie out of Northwestern, does not seem to be the same kind of athlete that Hawkins is. I know he's a big slot receiver. He was extremely productive, led the Big Ten in receptions, receiving yards, receiving touchdowns. Not that impressed with him athletically, just kind of looks like another guy, whereas Hawkins jumps off the field when you watch him. For sure. And now just moving over to the other skill positions, we saw a little bit more of Gronkowski today. It looks good. Saw a little bit more of Dwayne Allen today. A few more drops. I mean, the thing is, it wasn't as bad as yesterday. Yesterday it seemed like he was dropping every other pass, and then today he had a couple here and there. He looked like he was frustrated. I know Tom Brady kind of was coaching him up after one of the drops. He was telling him which way to have his hands, like this way instead of this way. So that was a little bit interesting. But then, you know, you see him. He made a couple of really nice catches. You see how maybe he'll fit the offense. He might not be the same type of receiving tight end that we've seen them have in the past at that position. He's not maybe the move tight end that Aaron Hernandez or even Scott Chandler and Martellus Bennett were. He might be more of an inline blocker, and then maybe a secondary option in the passing game. And especially because the Patriots have so many talented wide receivers, they don't necessarily need that kind of offensive production out of their second tight end. Yeah, that was my thought watching him today. I mean, he dropped a few more. Yesterday they were almost excusable because he was pouring rain yesterday. It was a miserable day. But today he dropped a few, and the weather isn't an excuse. So I don't know if he's got the greatest hands. And watching him, he kind of seems like a little plodding. Like he's 6'3", 265, so he weighs the same as Gronk, but he's like 3 or 4 inches shorter. So he's very muscular. He's a very good blocker, but I don't know what kind of athlete he is and how that will translate to receiving. But as you said, they don't need a great pass catcher as their number 2 tight end. They are loaded at wide receiver. They have Rob Gronkowski. They have 3 running backs who can catch the ball pretty well. So that's probably what they were looking for when they went out and they acquired Dwayne Allen, as a guy who can block, a guy who can give Gronkowski a blow every once in a while so he doesn't have to play 95% of snaps. And I'm sure, you know, Belichick wouldn't have made that trade and paid Dwayne Allen what his salary is if he didn't really like the player. I know you talked to Dwayne Allen after practice today. What did you guys talk about? Well, we talked a little bit. He does not want to compare Indianapolis to New England. You know, he's trying to avoid that. And but the one thing you would say about New England is he's kind of noticed the demand for excellence. Like he'll hear about it when he drops a pass. He'll hear about it when he makes a mistake, and that's something he's kind of tried to engage in and use to make himself better here early on with the Patriots. It's going to be an interesting process here for him to kind of ingrain himself in what the Patriots do, but I think he feels confident that he'll be able to do it. Just moving on to the defensive side of the ball, I mean, we saw some highlights from some more defensive backs. One that stood out to me was Coney Ely dropping back and batting a pass. Did you see that as well? Yeah, I saw that play. I saw Eric Rowe made a nice deflection against Julian Edelman on a deep corner route. There weren't really many. Those are the two that I recall. There was an interception. I actually couldn't tell who picked it off. It was on the far field, far from me. I think someone said Kyle Van Noy.
I thought I heard Kyle Van Noy as well. I know Justin Coleman had a nice bat down as well. So there were some nice plays here and there from some of the defensive backs. I know I saw Harvey Lange actually coming in on blitz once and making a nice pressure. You can't really tell too much from the blocking here. It's mostly about hands and not about actually getting your pads into them. But I mean, it was nice to see that kind of quickness from Harvey Lange getting around the corner. He could be an interesting player for the Patriots linebacker if they end up keeping him. So
yeah, there's a lot of competition at linebacker. One defensive guy who stood out to me is Stephon Gilmore, who they signed in free agency from Buffalo, gave a massive contract to. Pretty unexpected move by the Patriots. Usually they don't do that. Then again, usually they don't have $60 million in cap space to work with. Gilmore, I think, is a phenomenal athlete, and I think his ball skills are pretty evident when you watch him. He just has a nose for the ball. He really can make plays on the ball when it's in the air, and that's one thing that Bill Belichick has talked about in the past, and I don't know how much of that you can teach. I think a lot of that is natural. I mean, you can be a great cornerback and you can position yourself perfectly, but oftentimes a play comes down to the last 0.2 of the second when you have to turn quickly and knock the ball away. If you don't do that, then everything you did correctly before that is negated. Stephon Gilmore in these practices looks like he always finds himself to be in the right position to get his hands on the ball. I've noticed that in, even 2-on-2 drills, some 7-on-7s, he's just always right there. And I think he's going to be great for them this year, personally.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he's a great fit. We got some questions here. We had